Alright, so now we got it on the stove here, waiting for a good boiling point. Once it starts cooking, you'll see a boil over. It'll start bubbling, bubbles will rise. You want to get to that point where we can have it boiling but not overflowing with bubbles. So once you reach a boiling point, they'll call it boil over, and it'll roll the bubbles into itself, and that's when you can start adding your hops and their flavor. But you got to get that up to that boiling point first. So once it starts really bubbling up and foaming, you can lower your temperature down to get it to where it's a nice rolling boil without bubbles brewing. So it's easier on the stove compared to what I'm doing in my cooker in the garage. That cooks at such a high degree that it really gets it boiling quick, and you got to really mess around with the temperature. But on the stove, I can pretty much have my stove on high, and I'll have like a perfect boil for my beer. So just keep an eye on that. And once the boil over starts and you get it down to the foam back down to settle, but the boil and the bubbles are still rumbling, that's when you can start your timer, start adding your hops. I'll show you once we get that going. Okay, now we're beyond that boil over. You see how it's foamy and bubbly? I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see if we can get up in there. See, we're at the point where foam is happening, but we want it to, the bubbles, to see how it's boiling down here, that'll roll all this foam into itself. Once that calms down, then we're safe enough to start dropping our hops in there. You can always blow on it to get it down. Some people spray a little bit of water on there. So you know you can start playing with your temperature, get it so it's just a steady boil. And once it all rolls in, because you don't want to add any hops to it yet. Now while it's foamy like this, let the boil eat this foam all up so it's mostly liquid again. And what it is, we'll start adding our hops, set our timer, and how I do it, I usually do a 90-minute boil, and I'll add my hops, different measurements of hops at different times. So for this boil, for example, I'm going to add hops every 10 minutes for the whole 90 minutes. So see, now you can see that this boil over happened, bubbles are gone, it's boiling nice, and now so we can start adding our ingredients. And I'm going to boil it for 90 minutes, add my hops, like I said, every 10 minutes. And then I'll show you when I put the wort chiller in what we got to do at the end of our cook.